What's up, guys? It's Jaballer. I'm back, and this is the third segment of my podcast. You guys saw the other two segments, and it's a continuation of my podcast. I hope you guys will enjoy this. We're going to be going into this week's, UFC card, which is actually tonight. So we're going to have two rivals, Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal, duking it out in the octagon. This is a very big grudge match, as you guys can tell, and it's gonna be fireworks. But I do think Colby will win this fight, given his experience and how he's fought. But yeah, there's a lot of trash talk going on in the press conference, and Jorge is essentially claiming that Colby left the gym without paying his fees, and he calls him, just a fake person in general. But Colby responds saying this isn't true, and that he's already paid his end of the bargain, even though he wasn't required to pay more to different coaches. He still did so. So Colby's claiming that, and this was done in an interview with Michael Bisping, if you guys haven't seen it. But yeah, there's a big grudge match going on. A lot of cursing during the press conference, if you guys seen it. Yeah, I do think Colby Covington will win, though, like I said, because of his superior wrestling. And yeah, that's the main thing, in the cardio. And we've already seen Jorge crumble to Usman. He got slept, so I know Colby uses that as a joke, but he actually did get slept. And Colby didn't, so it's going to be a good fight. I just thought the stare down was pretty interesting, so here it is.
When the main event of the evening, introducing Jorge Davis. Official weight 1 over injury.
Like they're already talking and shit. Yeah, I know Kamaru Usman had his comments on the entire fight, and he said that Jorge could potentially get a sneaky knockout. That's his way of winning. That's his path to victory. Like some sneaky shit, like a flying knee. I mean, people expect that, and with Colby, it wouldn't really work to do a flying knee, because then Colby can easily take him down in that instance. But yeah, that's Jorge's chance of winning, just getting a sneaky knockout of some sort. And looking forward to it. And that's what Usman said, and I think that is true. That's his way of victory, and that's the only thing he can really do as far as this fight's concerned. So stay tuned tonight, and we'll see who the winner is. My bet's on Colby, though. So yep, we have this fight coming up, but now we also have the continuation of the Russia-Ukraine crisis that I want to go over. There's apparently ceasefire agreements that have been put in place, but they've clearly just been broken. So just want to see. You can actually click on this video and see what it has to say.
But we begin this morning with Secretary of State Blinken's warning about Russia's assault on Ukraine, saying the offensive, now in its second week, will get worse before it gets better. His assessment comes as Russia continues a broad range of attacks across the country. Moscow describes the onslaught as a special operation to capture what it regards as dangerous nationalists. The UN ambassador to the United States says a catastrophe was averted after Russia fired at Europe's largest nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine Friday, but no radiation was released. And this morning, questions over a potential effort to help some besieged residents get to safety. Chris Livesay begins our coverage in the western Ukrainian city of Lviv. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. A ceasefire was planned in the strategic port city of Mariupol and Volnovakha this morning in order to allow for humanitarian evacuations.
I don't even know Mariupol and Volnovakha. I've never heard of that.
But that life-saving effort has stalled amid reports that Russian shelling continues. Heavy fighting has raged for days in Mariupol. At a hospital, a father sobs over the body of his 16-year-old son. Deaths that could have been prevented, Ukraine insists, if NATO enforced a no-fly zone over Ukraine.
Oh,
Something it
shit.
decided against on Friday, lest it risk a direct altercation.
That's like all the fucking interfaces of the fucking fighter planes and all that.
Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said blood was on their
I don't like this guy. I mean, he's Jewish, and I just don't like him.
hands. From this
So just look at his face, look at the way he talks. I just generally don't.
day, all the people who die will die because of you, he said. Russia claims they're not hitting civilians, releasing videos of missiles launching at precision targets. But on-the-ground evidence tells a different story. This is a nightmare. How is this possible? This woman cries in the northern city of Chernihiv. Just look at this. Despite a slow start to the invasion, frontline fighting is closing in on Kyiv itself. These jets bombing the city of Irpin next door. And with Russian tactics becoming more and more diabolical. NATO Secretary General accusing them of using banned weapons.
We have seen the use of cluster bombs, which will be in violation of international law.
Even nuclear power plants are in the crosshairs. U.S. officials said the world narrowly avoided a catastrophe during Russia's siege of Europe's biggest nuclear power plant, one that Ukraine said could have been 10 times worse than the Chernobyl disaster. All led the
10
country
times worse
already on par.
Than the Chernobyl disaster. That's a whole lot of bullshit. I don't I don't believe in that. But so let's just read into some of the local news, the recent news rather. A ceasefire was planned in the strategic Ukrainian port city. So there was a ceasefire. Carried a claim from Russia. Was against Russia positions. The West imposing sanctions against Russia to declaring war. I mean, shit, like that's a valid statement. Like if they're imposing sanctions, and that's what they're doing. Thank God we haven't got there yet. If any third party issued a no-fly zone over Ukraine, then Moscow would consider it armed conflict. And so NATO decided against a no-fly zone on Friday, lest it risk a direct altercation with Russia. Yeah, I just don't see how NATO can determine all of this. Is my essentially my concern. Like NATO determines everything, you know, in the world, or a lot of these global issues. And I generally don't find NATO. I just don't think NATO is a good thing. Just my opinion. In a Zoom call with U.S. lawmakers Saturday, Zelensky made an impassioned plea for help, calling for military and an embargo on Russian oil. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of catastrophes, but yeah, the ceasefire is not going through. Russia's still, doing what it's got to do, but yeah, I mean, NATO is. I don't really like NATO, and they're essentially trying to. It's kind of like world domination, if you will. Like, I don't want to get too Alex Jones here, but like, that's what it essentially is. They want to control the world. They want to control Russia. They want to control all these countries in different ways. Is what I think this whole thing is this NATO creation, and how the fact that they created a no-fly zone, it just doesn't really make sense, in my opinion. Ukraine-Russia talks to resume Monday. Putin compares sanctions to act of war. Yeah, I mean, like you said, how to help Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine needs Putin. I mean, we could potentially see how to help Ukraine. I mean, it's just like one of those things, like, when all of a sudden Ukraine is now a big issue, but when in the past, like Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria and all these other countries, Palestine. Nobody cares about that. Israel essentially took over the entire land of the Palestinians, and nobody gives a crap about that. But when it comes to Ukraine, it's all, oh my God, look at how big this is. This is so huge, humongous. Like, holy, like, we have to stop this. Oh my God. And then people are crying and stuff like that. But nobody pays attention to the innocent Muslims, for example, that are dying in China and other things of that nature, which kind of shows the hypocrisy with our country and with just how we handle things and the media and stuff like that. You don't understand what I mean? Let's see. They said for those of you watching, you probably want to help Ukraine or you have Ukrainian family, stuff like that. I mean, I could totally understand that. So we'll see. Just see what we can do. So, despite Russia and Ukraine seizing the port city of Mariupol collapsed. So the port city Mariupol collapsed. Okay. Struggle 10. Fragility of efforts to stop the fighting across Ukraine. 0.4. Okay. Russian artillery fire and airstrikes have prevented residents from leaving before the agreed to evacuations got underway. Had prevented residents from leaving before the agreed to evacuations got underway. Okay. Putin accused Ukraine. Okay. That was the title. Accused Ukraine of sabotaging the effort and the actions of Ukraine that called into question the country's future as an independent state. As the invasion of Ukraine continues, many, including Chicago, are watching for ways to aid the Chicago area residents. Multiple sanctions. These are some groups you guys can go to if you want to help. So Razam of Ukraine. Razam means together found 24 to support Ukrainians after Russia annexed Crimea. Okay. That was a long time ago. Russia annexing Crimea, that was a long time ago. And I wonder why this is suddenly a big issue. Annex from Ukraine. I mean, they took Crimea already, so nobody really cared about that. You see what I'm saying? Like they took Crimea already, so why is this suddenly a big issue? Suddenly, when this is happening, annex the Crimea. Masked Russian troops took over the Supreme Court. I mean, they're condemning this, but this is something that already has happened. Like, this is something that already happened, like in 2014, like, and it wasn't even a big deal. But like all of a sudden now, this thingy is like a big deal of them invading Ukraine. Like, well, I'm so confused. Like maybe I'm not too sure what. Like, it's Ukrainian territory. Like, it's probably like Ukraine wants to get revenge on the fact that they lost Crimea. Like, I don't understand. Like, this whole thing, it's a power fucking dynamic. This whole thing is just, they want power. It's a power dynamic, and they want to dictate different countries and control them. It's a monopoly, so to speak, that everybody wants to get, gain power. And it's really just America is leading this. America is the biggest contributor to this. And yeah, I just think that this whole thing it shouldn't be as important as the other wars I mentioned, like that affected millions of innocent people. Nobody gives a crap about that. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the future, but those are my thoughts on that. Yeah. Yeah, is there anything else I wanted to go through before at the end of this? We can just actually look into some NBA to see what that has to say. Embiid dominance on full display. A lot of people say Embiid is a top 5 player or whatever, and they think he's a very good player. But to be totally honest, I think Jokic is better. I mean, that's just my opinion. I think Jokic is a better player than Embiid. You can actually even look at their stats too to see who's better. Morant is a killer in the league right now. Morant is a fucking killer. He is generally a killer in this fucking league. So we can look at let's look at the NBA seed right now. Let's see what the NBA standings are. So the Heat are in the top for the Eastern Conference. 42-22. The Heat, the Sixers are coming up. My hometown Sixers. James Harden. They're doing good. Who do the Heat even have? In the Western Conference, the Suns are actually up against. Suns are a good team. Devin Booker and Chris Paul, they're a good team. And then, of course, the Warriors. We got fucking Curry. Fucking best shooter in the game. I want to see what's Miami Heat's fucking roster. I don't even know who plays for the fucking Heat. Sorry, guys. My knowledge on NBA right now is zilch. Jimmy Butler. I know he was Kyle Lowry. These guys aren't even that. I mean, they're good. Like Jimmy Butler is a good player. Like Kyle Lowry is a great player. Fucking Victor Oladipo is a good player. I know these guys. But damn, their record is actually good. Their record is actually great, dude. Who's this guy? Yeah, I don't know. I don't give a shit about him. But yeah, that's cool. If I had to answer favorite player in the league, I gotta go with my man's LeBron, dude. I'm a LeBron fan, bro. LeBron's the GOAT. He's the best player right now. Okay, he's not the GOAT, but like he's just my favorite player. I like the confidence. I like the fucking his physicality, just how athletic he is, and just his mentality too, dude. Like he's a different level. But yeah, and then I mean, is there anything else we can talk about? I think that'll sum it up for now. I mean, if there's more current events, I'm gonna talk more about it. But like I said, comment, like, subscribe, do all the above, and we'll come out with more content for you guys so you guys can enjoy the podcast and chill here. And with that, Jaballer. I have to give you guys a flex. And I'm out, guys. Peace, enjoy, stay safe in your house. Have a nice one.